Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to Sree's Sunday Positivity Show, or Monday if you're watching in some parts of the world. My name is Sree Sreenivasan, and I'm the Marshall Loeb Visiting Professor of Digital Innovation at Stony Brook University. Please tag your friends, please hit share. This is a chance to have a global conversation as we talk about various aspects of COVID-19. I do a daily call that connects the planet. Tonight, we have a very special show for you, and we want to make sure everybody can join us. This is our Sunday Positivity series, Sunday night in New York. It's 9 p.m. on Sunday here, and this is show number 45. That means I've been on lockdown in Manhattan for 45 days, and we have seen lots of tragedy in the world. We've also seen lots of creativity as people find ways to connect, to work, to engage with the world. Please hit share and tag your friends. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on LinkedIn, and we're on Twitter. Please hit share and tag your friends. You can also find our guest speaker and find her on Facebook and find her on Instagram, and we'll give you that contact in just a minute. First, let me tell you who we have on the show tonight. We have Poorna Jagannathan, who is a fabulous actress, and we are going to meet her in just a bit. She has been in shows like Big Little Lies, The Night Of, Delhi Belly, Better Call Saul, and she has a new show that premieres tomorrow, Monday, on Netflix, and it's created by Mindy Kaling. It's called Never Have I Ever, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. So right now, tag your friends, hit share, find us on Twitter, retweet. We want everybody to see this show. It is such an exciting program. I've seen the preview of Never Have I Ever. It is so good. You're going to love it, and we'll tell you all about it in just a minute. But in the meantime, this show is brought to you in partnership with Scroll.in, one of India's leading independent news and culture websites. And they are partnering with us so that we can extend the reach of this show. They have more than 2 million followers on social media, and we're so glad to be live streaming right in there. Tell us where you're watching from. Post your questions, and we'll bring them to Poorna in just a few minutes. Meantime, you can follow her. She's on Twitter, Poorna Jags, and she is also on Instagram, Pornography, with an underline at the end. So please share this with the world and tag your friends. Tell us where you're watching from. If you're watching in India, it's very early. It's 6:30 a.m. there. It's 9 o'clock on the East Coast where I am, and she's in LA where it's 6 p.m. So we're very grateful to her for joining us. This is a night of positivity. We want to be realistic, but also positive, and also realistic. Let's see who's watching us. We have Jonathan watching us from the East Village. Joe Arpaio is watching from outside Atlanta. And Ranjit says, woohoo, that's great. Connie's watching. Tell us where you're watching from, folks. Laura is watching from Philadelphia. Was just listening to yesterday's WBAI show. Thank you so much. Let me tell you a little bit about our other shows. She's talking about this show where I host a spin-off of this show every Saturday, a call-in show. We call it a helpful, hopeful call-in show. And it's every Saturday, 12 to noon, and we had the New York City Comptroller, the Chief Financial Officer, a law professor whose work I will tell you about later, and Chef Grace Ramirez, who does an amazing job helping feed the frontline workers of New York with Jose Andres, the famous chef. We have people posting comments. Alu Pakora says, hey, Poorna, we'll get to that. And Ranjit Varki is watching from Redmond, Washington. So this is a great international conversation that we're having. Let me thank our sponsors. We have two sponsors. The first is Thunder 11, and Thunder 11 is a C-level communications boutique specializing in tech, healthcare, and public affairs. Thunder 11 offers big ideas and relentless execution for brand ID, PR, content creation, and leadership training. Won a 2019 Platinum PR Awards Boutique Firm of the Year. Please visit thunder11.com. Check out thunder11.com. We're very pleased to have them as a sponsor. We're also sponsored by Girl Scouts of Greater New York. Help us donate 100,000 boxes of cookies to healthcare workers. And go to this link, bit.ly/gscookies1, bit.ly/gscookies1, and you will be able to make a donation that supports the Girl Scouts, supports the healthcare workers who will get their favorite Girl Scout cookies, and supports this show. And the ad was paid for by an anonymous third-party donor. So that's a great way to support our show and also help an organization that you want to support. We have very inexpensive ad rates, as you can see. So there may be something you want to support, a great cause, or you want to do a shout out for a birthday, a wedding proposal, a wedding anniversary. We're going to do a Mother's Day special. Just email me, Sree@Sree.net, SREE@SREE.net. We'd love to have your ads. We'd love to connect with the planet. So please do contact me as we do these. All right, I think we're ready for Poorna to join us. I am so excited to have her here with us. A reminder that we will get a chance for you to have questions that we can ask Poorna, and also comments, and we'll be talking about her big new show debuting Monday on Netflix. If you're where you are, if it's already Monday past midnight, there's a chance it's already live on your Netflix, ready for you to watch after you watch this show. So let's bring in Poorna Jagannathan, who is here right now. Hi, Poorna.
Hi, Sree. Hi, everyone. Hi, Connie and Ranjit.
Thank you so much for being here. We love having you on the show, and we want to tell everybody that they can follow you on Twitter, Poorna Jags on Twitter, and her Instagram is pornography_on IG. And I guess IG is your jam, isn't it?
Yeah. You're very comfortable with Twitter. I'm very verbose, so Twitter is really hard for me.
I understand, but you had a great show on Instagram today, so let's tell people about that right away.
Yeah. So this whole time is we're really thinking about there's a lot of shows coming out, but the question is, how do you do promotion in days like this, right? Some days I can barely get out of bed. So what am I just didn't feel like getting on a big press tour. The show's coming out. The show's amazing. I want to talk about it. I want to celebrate it. But I wanted to do it in an untraditional way. And so I asked my really good friend, an amazing DJ called DJ Rekha, if she could host an Instagram live Bollywood party. And, the one thing I have been doing every day is going to an Instagram live party. D-Nice or Questlove, I'll stay on it for maybe even 2 hours or 3 hours a day. And it's such a source of inspiration and fun. It's such a source to let loose and just be in a different mindset. So Rekha was kind enough, and we hosted it this morning, and we had people from India like Shivani Landekar, Monica, Farhan Akhtar, Shafi Hassan. We had Mahershala Ali in the house, Anushka Shankar, Rami Yusuf. We had Mariska Hargitay, and just a bunch of absolutely amazing Desi and Desi adjacent guests show up. Raj Kumari showed up. It was amazing.
I love the phrase Desi adjacent. That's awesome. And so it was on Instagram, and people could see that. And the show is called Never Have I Ever. It's created by Mindy Kaling. It's her next big show.
Mindy Kaling showed up for the party.
Yeah, that's really cool. So let's just take some comments and questions. Let's see where people are watching from around the world. Please tell us, and we'd love to share those comments. Tuning in from New York City is Connie Eggert. Pradnya is watching from Silver Spring in Maryland. And Alu Pakora says, I'm your fan since Delhi Belly.
Thank you.
It makes sense that a food group would be, or a food item would be your fan since Delhi Belly. Watching from Bandra is Anil Kabli.
My best friend. Hi, Anil.
Hi, Anil. That's great. Naresh Ghosh says hi. And watching from Tallahassee is Paula Kiger. Paula is an amazing part of my team. They do she and her team in the mornings on Sunday do these amazing shows, and we did an amazing show today. I just want to remind everybody, just go into my YouTube. We interviewed Claudia Dreyfus, who is a fabulous interviewer, and she interviewed folks like Mel Brooks and other great writers, and talked about her experiences. And you can find this on our my YouTube, youtube.com/SreenET. You can subscribe. Next week, we have a terrific show with Mickey Maynard, who is the Detroit bureau chief of the New York Times. We read the New York Times out loud like crazy people on a Sunday morning, and these great people come to us. Look at some of these names. Tom Jolly, the New York Times print editor, Amy Vershup, the travel editor. We went to their homes to read the New York Times. Stacey Stewart, president and CEO of the March of Dimes. Sunny Slaughter was a guest on the 1619 Project. And speaking of Netflix, Harlan Coben was in the house, #1 best-selling author with 3 Netflix shows on at the same time. And they were on our show. And they were great. And so that's my morning. That's how I started my morning. And now it ends it on this positivity note with you, Poorna. Thank you so much for being here. We're getting great comments from around the world. Tag us, jump in here, post. Arlene says, I'm watching from Upper Manhattan and eating too much. We'll ask you about your quarantine schedule. And I guess dancing is one way to keep fit. Martin Englishers is watching from Riverdale, the Bronx. Thank you, Sree. Love your shows. Love you, Martin. Thank you so much. He connected us to Dr. Ruth when we did a show with the great Bill Ritter. And so that was an amazing connection to have. Krishna says, I'm watching from Hong Kong. Krishna Angara is watching. Steve Taylor from Philadelphia, another part of my awesome production team. If you like virtual events, folks, we do them. We do them better than you can. You might even think you could do a virtual show. So contact us for that. And Sree Zhang is watching from Guangzoo, Poorna. How about that? And she's watching from India. And Laura says it's almost a full-time job keeping up with you. Thank you for all the amazing and helpful information. Thank you so much. It's because of guests like Poorna that this is worth watching. James says, I'm on watching list. Vandana says, Rose and I are live tweeting. These are our producers live tweeting. Rose Horowitz 31 and Vandana_Menon. They're tweeting up a storm, and so please take a look. And Ranjit says, hi, Poorna. And Anil gives you a little spark, I guess. I'm not sure. Sheetal says, so cool, Poorna. You look great. So, and Sonali says, my sister Rohini chatted with you because you both studied at the Barrow Group.
Oh, yeah, I do study at the Barrow Group. They're amazing.
Tell us what the Barrow Group is.
The Barrow Group is a school. It's an acting, directing, script writing school and a production company based out of New York. And I came into acting very, very late as an adult, probably like 30. And I had studied at different places. I'd never quite had the confidence or the skill to understand what acting really look like. And then I chanced upon the Barrow Group in New York, and I've been with them now for 15 years. They are an unbelievable company and has completely changed the way I approach acting, how I think about acting. And if you ever thought about becoming a director or a writer or actor, I certainly encourage you to check them out, barrowgroup.org. Wow,
that's great. Is it anything like the school that is the show that Barry on HBO? Bill Hader's great show.
We love it so much. It's the opposite to that. That's what's so great about it.
Okay, I think you just got an ultimate compliment from Norm Green, because he says, Norm does, that we just switched over from a Zoom 6th grade reunion to watch this show.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Norman.
Anil says, best thing to wake up to. Jay is watching from Dubai and says, hello, Poorna, hey, what's up? Hey. And you're getting hearts. And our friend Anita Ratnam is watching in Chennai, amazing dancer.
Hi,
and just wonderful. We're just so happy to know you. And Connie says, Poorna, I've known you since before Kaligat. Tell us what she means.
Oh, Connie. Kaligat was one of the first plays I did in New York.
And she knew you before then. So that's
I played a nun, and she knew me before then.
Okay. Arlene says, who's that in the background? Maybe she spotted someone in your
dog, right? Is the dog there?
No, the dog's gone. Tell us about the dog.
Echo. We've been living here for 4 years, and we got her as soon as we moved, because we thought if we got a dog, we wouldn't move around so much. And it's true.
Okay, that's great. And Rose says she's joined from Connecticut. So excited! I'll be live tweeting. I watched the trailer and reviews of Never Have I Ever. Looks so funny and smart. And that's great. And Sonali says, I loved your character in Big Little Lies. So that's great. We'll talk about each one of these shows in a bit. We just want to get the people coming in. Hi, Sree. Hi, Poorna. Joined you from Bayside, says Kavita.
Hi, Kavita.
Hey, look who it is, Samrat.
Samrat.
He's awesome. I just saw him in Homeland just the other day. He played
I saw the trailer.
Ambassador to the United States. He looked really good in that. And Samrat, we got to have you on the show. Please get in touch. We'll make that happen. Ashok Sharma says hi, and let's see.
And he actually says hi.
Hi, that's right.
Hi. Yeah.
That's right. And Ashok says, do you miss me and love me, Poorna Jagannathan? Congrats on the DJ Rekha show.
Hey, thanks, Ashok. Were you there?
And Samrat says, awesome interview. Arlene was talking about the dog. And Ravi Balu says, hi, cuz, we're watching you. Best of luck for the show.
Thank you. Thanks, Ravi and family.
That's great. So Sunday night is our positivity episode, and why we wanted to talk to you is when we look at your Instagram postings, there are so many sunny things in there and positive without being, absurdly positive or unrealistically positive. So tell me how you're getting through this current crisis. What are you working on? I know it's hard to, a lot of us can work from home, but actors can't really. So fill us in, and how is everybody in your orbit?
So, I have a 13-year-old, so it's amazing. We spend so much time together and playing together and reading together and just going on walk. No, that's not true. I'm just drinking a lot, doing absolutely nothing with my son, actually. No, jokes aside, we have on days and off days. I especially have on days and off days. In the beginning, it was a lot of just under the covers and Netflix. And then miraculously, we've got into a routine. I mean, really, it's like we're under such extraordinary circumstances and we're suddenly in a routine. But the stuff that brings me a lot of positivity nowadays is those dance parties that happen every day for hours, sometimes 8 hours at a stretch. So you're just logging in and off of those. The school that I spoke to you about, they're based in New York. I'm in LA, and it's such a shame because I'm always in class when I was in New York, even though I am, I'm working and I'm acting, I'm always plugging back into class. I always bring what I'm working on into class. And in LA, I didn't have that. So they just started their classes online. So after years and years, I was able to join class again. And that's been amazing. So, working on that almost every day, there's some scene that you want to work out. There's some text that you're looking at. We used to shop at Trader Joe's, and suddenly we're getting produce boxes from the farmer's market, to avoid going out and cook. Oh, I know what I'm doing. I didn't know how to cook. And when I say I didn't know how to cook, I mean, if I opened a box of mac and cheese and by mistake threw out the box, I'd have to pick it up halfway just to see how to finish out the mac and cheese and stuff. I have no idea. But then I got an Instapot right before this, and I joined like a full-on auntie Instapot cooking for Indian food group on Facebook. So we're just exchanging recipes, and we're trying out different things every day, and it's been amazing. So there's a lot of cooking, and just a lot of stuff like that. That's the positive stuff.
Yeah, well, we love hearing that, and the cooking sounds like fun. We're also experimenting with the Instapot. It can do so many things. It can do almost too much.
I know.
Indian food really works well on it because Indian food, there's a lot of pressure cooker recipes, and it works together really well. Yeah. Please follow Poorna on Twitter. She's Poorna Jags, and she's on Instagram, Pornography with an underscore at the end. Was the handle taken without the underscore? It's hard to believe, but I guess... Yeah, the too many Poornas in the world, right? So let's see here. Look at Mitra. She says your cooking is actually good. Our friend Mitra Kalita is watching.
She hasn't tried it.
So we know she's just making that up, but she is right. We are friends, and I want to say thank you to both of you, both you and Mitra. Because of both of you, my kids got to have a last hurrah travel experience right before the shutdown. They went on a college tour of Southern California, and they got to spend an evening with you and your wonderful family, and with Mitra and her family. They just had a great time. And who knew that was the last hurrah for several months? We had no idea that was going to be it. So folks, if you're watching right now, tag your friends, hit share, retweet. We are live right now on multiple channels on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and LinkedIn. And we want to hear your questions for Poorna. We do want to talk about some of her previous roles, but we do want to celebrate the new series on Netflix. And one of the things I didn't get a chance to tell you in our briefing is that Netflix and YouTube and all these places are so tight on the kind of streaming of any content, even trailers. I've been gotten those knocks that you do if you do that on YouTube. So I'm sorry that we won't be able to play a trailer, but we will show where people can find it. And they just Google Never Have I Ever. There's a lot of stuff out there. But let me just show them very quickly what it looks like. They'll get a sense also, by the way, of how good the production quality is. Of course, it's a Netflix show. It's a Mindy Kaling show, so it has to be great. But it is really, really good. It's called a dramedy here after a traumatic year, and all an Indian American teen wants is to go from pariah to popular. But friends, family, and feelings won't make it easy on her. And it's starring Maitri Ramakrishnan, Poorna Jagannathan, Richa Murjani, creators Mindy Kaling and Lang Fisher. We'll give you a chance to talk about all of these folks, and we'll just see a little bit here. And you see, look at all these originals. These are shows that so many people know, watch around the world, and to be in that same category as Stranger Things and Tiger King and all of that must just feel awesome for you, Poorna.
It does. It's a great time for it to come out because of the tone of the show. You know, the tone is, I don't know how other people were dealing, and still, I have another show called Defending Jacob out, and it's very dark. It reminds me, but when I read it, it reminded me a little bit of The Night Up in terms of just how it's structured. And it's a beautiful show on Apple TV, but I haven't watched it yet because I just wanted material to be really light right now. I'm very drawn towards comedy. Usually I'm not. And this is, someone described it as a bag of Skittles, and I love that description. It's just you consume it easily, and you consume it with a lot of joy. And then I know, Sree, that you saw a little bit of it, but I also feel that the humor sits on top of an iceberg of grief. And so it's a funny show, and it's a great show, but there's also an undercurrent that makes it really, really relevant for adults as well.
And you're playing the mother of a teenager in there, yeah. So you have now some experience with that. And right behind you, Echo has come back. So there she, I'm not sure. They, I think we just say they, right? I'm not sure. Folks, please post your questions. We have so many great questions and comments coming in. Let's take a look. Mitra says, not true. She did experience her cooking dal when she was in LA with you, or maybe that was Azad's dal. We're not sure. Rose says she loved Samrat in Homeland too, which was great. So I hope Samrat hears that. And Deborah says, D Nice has these incredible sets on Instagram. So fun. And that's what you're talking about. And Pradnya says, so many Poornas and bad spellers on Instagram and everywhere else. The problem with cooking, says Sonali, is having to do the dishes afterward. And that's certainly an issue. And glad to see the twins before all of this went down was my cousin Pradnya, by the way, filmmaker. Her debut feature, which stars wonderful Indian American actors, but also Mr. Arquette is on it, and it's great. It's called The Miseducation of Bindu, and it's been in a wonderful series of film festivals.
Oh, yeah, it has Priyanka Bose, my friend Priyanka Bose in it.
Yes, that's right. And so Pradnya is the director. My cousin is a director, and she's at the New York Film Academy in LA. She's a professor there, and she does great work. And we want to make sure you two are connected. And Pradnya, we're very proud of you, and we're glad you got to see your little twin nephew and niece, not so little anymore, but you got to see them. Pradnya sends lots of hearts, and we love seeing that. Jay Money says, all the best and proud of you from Jaya, Mani, Deepa, Sriram, Balu, and Shanta.
Mommy.
And Mick McCabe says, go. I guess this is a nickname.
It is a nickname, Pee-Pee. There's porn and Pee-Pee. It's great. It's a good life.
It's definitely a good time for a show like this. We need some comedy for sure. Yeah. And Neil has a question. How long was the show in development?
So I don't know. I know we shot for 3 months. Netflix, there's a woman called Brook over at Netflix who really, really is a big fan of Mindy and has read all the books. And she kept thinking, wouldn't it be great to have a show about little Mindy, about younger Mindy? And so she approached, Netflix approached Mindy, and Mindy said, yes, great idea, but I don't want to set it at the time that I was growing up in the 80s, late 70s and 80s. I want to set it in present day. And, you know, the show, I don't know if you guys have seen Hentified yet on Netflix. It was one of the shows that I just binged, but it's such an unbelievable conversation around diversity and representation. I know we've been talking about it in the media, and it's, you know, it's everything else looks like lip service, and then this looks like the real deal, you know, even with Hentified. These two shows coming out around the same time is just, I mean, I just think it just hurls the conversation around representation so much further. There's so many people of color. There's so many Indians. There's so many, not only Indians, it's also very specific to South Indian family. So, and that, you know, that shows up throughout. That's like a running thread throughout, and it's very subtle. But it's an important, it's a vital conversation to have. And once you see it, you actually realize how parched you've been for representation, actually.
Yeah, and Hentified is amazing. So thank you for the shout out to Hentified. Everybody should see it. It's a great series, and I loved what I saw of this. Waiting for Monday to come along so we can watch it properly. But yeah. You also have one of the favorite actors of this house. You have Sendil in the show, and tell them about him. Not everybody may remember some of his roles. He was in Heroes. He was on Mindy's. He was Mindy's.
You don't have to talk about his roles that much. Sendil is a very hot South Indian actor. I was lying on the couch here with Azad. We were talking to his aunt, and then his aunt's like, "Wait a minute, who's the guy who plays?" I was like, "I'm sure it's a really hot actor." And while Azad is here, we're texting pictures of Sendil, and then his aunt is like, "Is there a picture of him with his shirt off?" I'm like, "I'm sure I can find one." So it's just, you know, Sendil is not only hot, but he's a lovely, lovely actor. And Mindy wanted a couple of things. She wanted the family to be authentically South Indian, so which is why you have names like Ramakrishnan and Sundar Ramamurthy and Jagannathan. But she was also really keen that we be darker skinned, just to create some authenticity around it. And so we, you know, and the fact that we're all three South Indians, you know, when we got cast is funny, and all the names are just, you know, the titles just go on off screen with the last names. But when shooting, it really was miraculous. There's a scene which is actually cut, but we're all sitting down and we're praying, and all three of us knew all the same prayers, you know, the Tamil prayers that we all grew up in. And I'm not religious, but, you know, there's prayers that are just inculcated into you from hearing it all over the place. And all three of us knew. We all had the same language without having to do any preparation. We all came to the roles with such a high degree of just ourselves and our life experiences. That's never happened. I mean, it's just never happened on any set when you're doing so much of yourself to a set and you leave so much of yourself on a set.
That's awesome. Arlene has a question. So what is Meryl Streep really like?
She's amazing. And not only is she amazing, she is really, really funny. And I know the ladies were so grateful to have them join the cast because she really validated all of them. She validated the show. She just elevated the show. Yeah, she's amazing. She's an amazing woman and so kind.
Well, we're just reminding everybody what we're doing. We're talking right now to Poorna Jagannathan, actress who has been on so many shows you folks have seen, including The Night of, In the Night of, which was such a great show. Also Big Little Lies, where she acted with Meryl Streep, and then Delhi Belly, and her big new show on Netflix at Monday, which means 3 hours in New York, 2 hours from now in New York, and some places already you might be able to find it. Let us know if you're in India or in Europe and you're still awake and you can find it online. Let us know if it's already live, which will be pretty cool for us to know that. We are talking to Poorna Jagannathan. Please tag your friends. Please hit share so that they can watch this even afterwards. They can get a good look at the show. Poorna, tell us a little bit about your journey. How did you get to Hollywood? Did you always know you wanted to be an actress? Did you always know you were going to be an actress?
Far from it. I've always been very attracted to not only act. I was always very attracted to the idea of, like, when I read a book when I was younger. Maybe everyone does that, but I was drawn in a very, very particular way when I read things or when I see things. It's a completely different world for me that I enter into, and think, of course I saw movies and I saw whatever plays growing up, but I just didn't know how to become an actor. I had no idea. I'd met an actor when I was 8. I met Suhasini Maniratnam when I was actually 7 for like a week. I knew her, and that's the only actor I met until I became an actor. I don't know what it is, but I was drawn to being able to tell stories, and I definitely wanted to tell my own story eventually in some way, and I didn't know how to do it. And then at 30, I quit my job. I was working full-time in advertising. I had a wonderful job, wonderful colleagues. Mick is on there, and he's a very old friends from that time. But I also knew that I couldn't keep up with advertising because I don't know. I didn't have the spark anymore to even go into work and show up. I wasn't bringing 100% of myself to my job, and I love my job, and I love my bosses. I love my clients. I was just not firing on any sort of cylinder, actually. But when I was in acting class, I do an adult acting class here and there over the weekends, and oh my God, it would be an 8-hour class, and I would be so alert and awake, and there was so much energy. I always had energy for acting. I just didn't know how to act. And then over the years, I learned how to act. I'm a huge believer that the craft can be taught. Script analysis can be taught. How to emote can be taught. How to understand, how things work, how scenes work, can all be taught, because I learned it. And then so I started studying a lot, and slowly, the process of, getting an agent, getting a manager, getting a tiny non-speaking part, getting one line, getting a scene, it just keeps going. And I started my career up in New York City, and the casting directors are very loyal in New York. And so I just met a woman called Avi Kaufman, and you'll see my resume. She has cast me in almost everything. She'll always bring me in. She'll always fight for me in the room. And so that's, even The Night Up, it was Avi who brought me into the room. I was living in India at that time. There's some casting directors who I've met during the course of my career who will always, always remember you, fight for you, and bring you in. And that's it. It's one tiny step after the other. There's really never been any huge leaps. With Never Have I Ever, there was, I don't know if you know, Sree, but there was a massive, massive casting call that Mindy put out. She put it out for 3 roles. She put it out for the lead, which Maitri plays. She put it out for the role of my niece that Richa Murjani plays, and then my role. and she got so many submissions. Casting is a very delicate process, but in terms of actors, when you there's so many actors, there's so many Caucasian actors. There's the pool between actors of color gets small and small, and the pool of South Asian actors is pretty small. So when Mindy was just seeing the very small pool of actors, she, apparently she turned to Lang and she said, "This is not, the actors coming in is not the show that we thought of. The vision was veering further and further away," which is why she just kind of started looking for a needle in a haystack. And so that's how Maitri and Richa got their roles, just through self-submission. I went in a much more traditional way. I got an appointment. I put myself on tape. I went in to meet the producers. One thing after the other. But I remember during the audition, she's a mom. You've seen the character. She's a mom. She's really busy. She's like, her daughter's always bugging her. And during one of the scenes, I decided to thread my upper lip, my mustache during the scene while my daughter was talking. And, the producers love that. And I've never done, I've played comedic parts, but I've never done a comedy. I've never, I've always done drama. I've always handled very heavy material. So to be cast in a comedy like this, and it's so authentic and it's actually so funny, it's a real delight.
That's great, Poorna. This is Neil Parekh for folks who are watching Sree's COVID-19 call. You might know me as the executive producer for the Sunday New York Times read-along. I'm not Sree, in case people are confused. How are you doing, Poorna?
I'm doing great, Neil.
I want to say this is actually really, really cool to be able to watch, particularly with the show coming out tomorrow. Sree asked me to jump in. He was having some technical problems, so I'm happy to jump in and try and host. Let's see what other comments we have coming in. We had a number of people watching. Ash was watching from Toronto, and Pradnya had a comment of strong women helping other women. Let's see who else. Deepa Mani saying, "Hey, Poorna."
She's my cousin.
You know Deepa?
Hi, Deepa.
And Vasanta Krishnan.
Oh, that's my mom. Very
Your
nice.
mom.
Yeah, very
So
nice.
what are you planning for Mother's Day next week?
Oh my God, is it next week?
It's next. No, 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Sorry to scare you. 2 weeks from now. Okay. We're thinking ahead. We're already thinking about for the New York Times read along and for Sree's COVID call. We're planning what we're going to do 2 weeks from now. Okay. And so as a quick plug for folks that are watching, we're looking at a 1-day special sponsorship deal to say thank you to your mom. We're going to come up with the details and share it on one of these calls. But both for the Sunday morning show and the Sunday evening show that Sree does, we obviously have to honor the moms in our lives. Have you had any thoughts yet about 2 weeks from now, or?
I will now. I completely forgot that it was
not
Mom.
to put you on the spot.
Yeah, but the character I play on Never Have I Ever is heavily based on my mom, heavily.
Yeah.
So she'll see a lot of stuff in it.
Tell us a little bit about that. What is it like to base it on your mom? How do you avoid making it a caricature? Because it's very easy. There are things about our moms. We all love our moms. We are all frustrated by our moms sometimes. Yeah. How do you avoid falling into that trap?
Well, it starts with the writing, right? I mean, first of all, you can tell from the writing the direction that the character is going. I do get a lot of opportunities to play Indian moms, and I will turn a lot down if it feels like a caricature, if it doesn't feel fleshed out. There's such a portrayal of an Indian mom as someone who's a nag and someone who just wants to get her kids married and someone who's just and I always feel like the story of the Indian mom is always so subsumed within other people's stories. She doesn't really have a voice. There's a lot of passiveness around it, and so in Never Have I Ever, it is absolutely not the case. The mom is a vibrant figure throughout the show, and but it's in the writing. Mindy didn't want to present this figure or anyone as a caricature, and even though it uses the common tropes, the hot guy, the nerds, every trope is flipped on its head in the show.
Yeah, because I think that's part of the challenge is there's that assumption both in the Indian community, but also for our personal life. We lived, my wife and I lived in Egypt for 2 years, and you learn a lot about the Arab world. There are a lot of parallels, and there's some people may think that women are submissive or not, are kind of they're domineering male culture, but in both cultures, women are incredibly strong. They have to be strong to be able to survive, to thrive, to organize their families, etc. And I think some people,
my mother's own journey with, she married twice, amazingly, for an Indian woman. That's so not common.
Really?
Yeah, she's traveled the world. She speaks so many different languages. She's so humble. Has a crazy, funny sense of humor, and there's so much complexity to her. There's so much complexity in my own life that I just felt the roles that I was being dealt and that a lot of brown women get dealt don't deal with the complexity, don't reflect the complexity of our own lives. So, I often talk about this cage of the model minority that brown women are put into. We're put into like just very smart women, accomplished women, have their shit together, sophisticated, and they're, when you're presented like that, there's really no breathing space, and there's no space to talk about pain, real events, the flip side of that, the sacrifices. In my own life, I've gone through, I've seen domestic violence, I've been sexually assaulted, I have dealt with alcoholism. There's so much that I have myself have seen and experienced, and if I'm not bringing all of myself to the screen and stage and just a sliver of who I am, it just feels thin, feels cardboardy.
Thank you for sharing that. That's very real and very, very personal. These are issues that we don't talk often enough in society in general, but also in our community.
Right.
So appreciate you. Shree's back.
Hi. And Steve saying, sending warmth and hugs, Mama Poorna. That's wonderful. Thank you for stepping in. One of the things we try to do in our shows is show how these shows are made and how technology works. And right now on Sunday nights is prime time for everybody to be online, streaming, watching all of that stuff. And something happened. I have a wired connection here, and we also upgraded our internet, but in New York City, it makes it tough. So thank you, Neil, for stepping in.
Thanks, Neil.
No problem. It was great talking with you, Poorna. I'll leave you back in Shree's hands, and if you need to send the bat signal up, Sree, I'll be watching.
Thank you. And we've seen several of the comments. How do you remember, Neil, how far you got in the comments?
Yeah. We were just looking at Steve's sending warmth and hugs, and I was going to just bring up Aparna's comment. So I'll let you handle it from here.
Yeah, so Aparna, our friend Aparna watching in LA, she says, amazing to have someone fight for you. I don't have any direct ties to that world apart from the CAA Foundation as a transplant to LA, but industry friends seem to find that to be the biggest challenge here.
Yeah.
And Vasanta says, hi, Poorna.
My mom.
That's your mom?
That's my mom.
That's awesome. Hi, Amma. We'll say that on behalf of all of us. My Amma's in the back here. You can see she's in Kerala, and we don't know when we'll be able to get on a flight and go to India.
I know. My Amma is in Toronto, and she lives alone. And it's I don't know when we'll be able to see each other. It's really terrifying.
It really is, yeah. Arlene says, Poorna, don't let Neil fool you. He's looking for a part on your show. That's why he's doing it.
It's so brown. There was an episode that we shot called Ganesh Puja in Never Have I Ever. there were only brown actors
Oh, wow.
on set, and like hundreds of them. All my friends were on set. It was amazing.
Yeah, and Sam, for Reka beats or break earlier, looking forward to more manana. That's great. Jaya says, Jaya's saying hello. Everybody, there's a friend who is watching right now who would love to say hi to Poorna. Please tag them. Anybody who loves the show, Big Little Lies or In Night of, or The Night of, sorry, would love to say hi to Poorna, I'm sure. And they're all going to love this new show that debuts tomorrow, Never Have I Ever, on Netflix. And let's get some of the questions in here. And Aparna says that was a good question on Asian mom caricatures. And Aparna says, Pradnya, I believe you'll have another chance with part 2 tomorrow. How old is the mom is the question that Pradnya asks.
She's my age.
So 25?
Teens. Teen mom,
Teen
unfortunately.
mom. Babies having babies, right?
Never have I ever.
And
Yeah, she may be a little younger than me. She has a teenage daughter, and she's probably like early 40s. I'm 47, so yeah, maybe like early 40s.
Tell us about age in Hollywood. There's always stories about how hard it is for women after a certain age to get good roles. Talk about that.
Yes, totally. There is, it's color in Hollywood and age in Hollywood are closely related, and I'm walking in the footsteps of women who are fighting and have fought. I'm walking in the footsteps of Reese Witherspoon, Nicole Kidman, of Shonda Rhimes, of Ava DuVernay. We're all walking. My career right now is in the footsteps of what Mindy Kaling has done. Maitri is 17 years old. I think she may have just turned 18. And to think, like, when I was 18, I came to acting late because I couldn't imagine being represented on TV. I couldn't imagine, because I never saw it. Like, why would I be an actor if I never saw that on TV? So imagine that there's a girl like Maitri who can dream of something like that for herself. And I think that's what women like Mindy Kaling do. They ignite another part of our brains. The other thing is, like, we're in our culture, we're scared of, what our parents will say if we veer off the path. And people like Mindy and Aziz make it okay to take risks and to do something that doesn't seem like you're predestined for.
And this is your website. We just pulled it up, pornography.com. And here they'll say your reel, your resume, photos that you put together. That looks great. Look at that gallery. This is fun. So does your agent work on this kind of stuff? What is who does this work for you? Do you have to learn this?
Yeah, it gets up. I mean, I don't update it that much. This whole world of WordPress is so weird. My friend is helping me out, but yeah, it's just there.
And this is a line from the press clippings. It says, "Never Have I Ever" releases on April 27th on Netflix. These effing kids are all going to prison. There's a line from the movie. So tell us about that. What is this scene?
It's just this woman who wants, the mom who wants to raise a girl who has values, who's not self-obsessed, who cares about what the mother thinks she should care about. And her thing is, like, if you're not listening to me, you're going to end up in prison. That's what teenagers do. You want to be a normal teenager? Normally teenagers end up in prison. That's the path you want to go down. Is that it? So it's that. It's I was telling Neil, there's a lot of momisms in here. There's a lot of South Indian and Indian momisms in there. I don't know how you parent, but I parent a lot like my mother. Yeah. So if Anav will break something, I'll be like, go break the table. Go ahead, break all the paint. Go ahead, no problem. Just go ahead, break it all. He'll say it as, you just sit on my head. Right. And it's just a constant sitting on head. There's a lot of that shows up.
I think there's a Hindi phrase even that means like kind of sitting on my head, or I'll sit on your head, that conveys it. In our house, we've been thinking that things our parents taught us wash your hands all the time, take your shoes off outside the house. These
yeah.
are all things that are going mainstream now. So this is the South Indian parent victory that's happening, and so kudos to your mom also for that. Mark asks, what is it like being an Asian American actress? You talked a little bit about the color issues and age issues. Is there anything particular being Asian American versus being, say, Hispanic? And you've played multiple ethnicities, right?
I guess I have. Yes, I guess I have. I've usually played Indian and Indian American. That's kind of the staple. I have played. Anyway, I've come up with different last names. I think they were thinking of casting someone else, and they ended up with me. What it's like to be an Asian? It's there's very little work for a lot of us. The pie is very small. The pie of opportunity is very, very small. And miraculously, instead of all of us fighting over it, we're incredibly supportive. My Asian American actor sisters are incredibly, incredibly supportive. We will tell each other about auditions. We will work with each other. We'll give each other a heads up. It's if I didn't get it, then it should go to you kind of mentality.
Wow.
I remember when I began, there was a part of a non-speaking part of an intern on ER, a non-speaking, and all of us went in and we all really wanted that role. It was the only role that was out there for the entire year. That's how slim the pickings were. And now, Defending Jacob is out, and the writer, Mark Baumbach, wrote the part with Sakina Joffrey in mind. That's the shift that's happening. She plays a DA. She doesn't even play like an Indian character. She plays like a Boston DA. And that's the shift. People are thinking of us when they now write the characters. And that's amazing. It's an amazing feeling.
What a change, and that is awesome. Aparna says, this took me back to the good old Basement Bhangra days. For those of you not from New York, every last Thursday of the month for years, Basement Bhangra at SOB Sounds of Brazil, taken over, and just great dancing, nonstop, old filmy songs and disco and all of that.
You just created that scene.
Yeah, she made that happen. Kalpana says, signing on for a while. Kalpana from Saratoga in California. Good to hear a show on positivity. So, but here's a negative comment that's come in. Is this a leftist propaganda talk? So I'm not sure how much leftist propaganda we were able to sneak in here, but let's see. And there are a lot of issues happening in the world, a lot of serious issues. We want to point that out for sure. But we also need a space where we can celebrate, we can laugh, we can look at what's happening around us and talk about creativity. Because if we don't laugh, we will be crying because there's so much going on. Hi, Poorna. Jayamani is watching you. Twyla announces that I'm very white.
Hi, Twyla. Hi, white Twyla.
But she's a big Indophile, I could tell you that, dear friend. And Vijay Pradnya has tagged the actress comedian Jagannathan, who is fantastic. And Kalpana says, love how all in all that brownness, every white or black or blue person finds their color. That's nice. Prithvi says, hi, Poorna. And Pradnya just tagging her friends. This is awesome. All of you do this. Tag your friends who will want to watch and celebrate Poorna's work. Aparna says, did you play Never Have I Ever as a kid? General question about sleepovers when we were growing up versus Asian American kids coming of age now.
Wait, what's the question?
Did you ever play Never Have I Ever as a kid?
Oh my God, I never did. I didn't even, when they said the title is Never Have I Ever, I'm like, okay, so the disclaimer here is I didn't grow up in India or in America. A lot of my childhood was all over. We did Argentina, Brazil, and there may have been a Spanish version of this game, but I didn't know it. I only knew Spin the Bottle. And even now when I play Never Have I Ever, I do it all wrong. Like I put the wrong fingers down. But you'll see it has a really great place in the series. And all the titles are Never Have I Ever ... You'll see.
Yeah, for each episode. That's right. And Thanks for bringing us the series like this. We're able to talk to you. Pradna is going crazy, tagging all her friends. That's wonderful.
Nice.
Thank you. Thank you, Pradna, for doing this. Sharmila says, loving this. Thank you for being on tonight. Poorna, DJ Rekha set was awesome earlier today. Can't wait for the show. Seeing you in these amazing roles. This is what we and our children have dreamed of.
Boy, you're so right. I mean, I go back to, like, I couldn't have even imagined it. I couldn't have even dreamed of it. You know, I was speaking to the writer. Do you know, Sree, do you know Mira Jacobs, the writer?
Oh, awesome writer, yeah.
She was talking about representation yesterday, and you know, she's so smart and it's so evocative. But this thing, and you know, when you see these movies, when you read these books, she has this beautiful New York Times piece. You just get used to the roles being, the lead roles being white people. That's just your thing, and the bit players may be people of color, which is still the case. And then the wonderful thing she was saying is you start thinking of yourself as a bit player in your own life. You don't ever think you could have that position or that role or that job, you know? You don't think you're entitled to that kind of power. And, you know, we are just brought in for a dash of humor. I mean, that's the other thing. Like, a lot of Indians, when they showed up, were used as the punchline instead of having anything to do with the plot line. And I think that's what's really shifting. But it was disempowering, you know, back then. Not back then, like right about now.
But I love that, from punchline to plot line. That's a big leap. It's a generational leap for us to be able to do that, and it's because of the quality of the actors and actresses.
All the other writing that's out there. Big shout out to all the amazing brown writers out there, and women. You know, I was on the conversation with Neil. So there are brown stories being told slowly, but you'll see it's a lot of male writers out there, and so the women in the story sometimes get erased as the mother, or as the, you know, it's kind of the male journey through the story, and so women brown writers are really reclaiming the space, and that's one thing I really appreciate about Never Have I Ever, which is each role has a lot of flesh in it, including the character of the mom.
Oh, that's terrific. Remember, folks, please follow her on Instagram, pornography_ on IG, and Poorna Jags on Twitter. Let's get some of the other comments coming in. I told you we'll go about 30 minutes. We're already 57 minutes into the show. So I don't know if dinner's waiting or you're cooking tonight or what the story is, but thank you for staying. Pradna has also been tagging her white friends, so that's good. And Kalpana is tagging her friend. Sonali says, indeed, we are scared of what our parents will say. Yeah. Sharmila has tagged Anjum Nair, who, of course, you, I'm sure, know as well. And Yale says, hi, Purnalita. Yalita dropping in just to get a teaspoon of you. How lovely.
Yael Barbara. Hi, Yael. Oh, my God. So when I was living in India, Azad and I were living in India we moved there in 2011 or something. And in 2012, the gang rape of Jyoti Singh Pandey happened and her subsequent death. And it was a tremendous time in India where right as the event happened, the next day, people started protesting about sexual violence on the street. You know, newspapers or journalists were talking about the event, but they were talking about their own experience with sexual violence, and the fact that it's such an epidemic and so woven into our culture started becoming the talking point for the first time. I mean, I grew up in a household where the word rape was never even mentioned, and so I wanted to do from that time a play.
Sorry, I was bringing up the review in the New York Times. I'm going to pull that up, and the ad started playing right on that. So go ahead, please.
My soundtrack for just what I was saying. That happens sometimes. But you know, I invited Yael Barbara, who is an acclaimed, one of the world's best theater directors. I brought her down to India to create a play that was a testimonial play, and 5 of us told our own stories of rape and sexual assault on stage. And, the goal was really to start breaking the silence around sexual violence in India and in the world.
And this is the review. It's a New York Times critics pick from 5 years ago, April 27th. Oh, wow. Did you realize that it was the same day 5 years later in the New York Times, the great Brent Brantley. And this says here, Poorna Jagannathan foreground and Japjit Kaur in a scene from Yael Farber's play in which Indian women describe their experiences of abuse. May I play this so that people can? Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so stand by, everybody. We're going to play this for you.
Right. Yeah.
Nostalgia is the longing for a home that no longer or never existed at all. Sometimes on a clear day I drift there, a ghost where there should be a wife, a shade where a mother should be. Looks like happy to most. But my husband and son know I am gone again, down a fragrant slope that smells of Raat Ki Rani, back to what has passed. I have made my peace. I have held the pieces. Shared details with my husband and friends, bound them in promises of discretion. A silence I was taught as a child. But when my husband called me late one night, something crazy just happened in Delhi.
Hey, AZ, I've lost volume. Have you? Okay, good.
Oh, sorry.
We lost volume.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Let's just pull that back a little bit. We'll just play that part again. It was just really beautiful. Talk us through this while I just set this up here. Let me just play
Down a fragrant slope that smells of Raat Ki Rani, back to what has passed. I have made my peace. I have held the pieces. Shared details with my husband and friends, bound them in promises of discretion. A silence I was taught as a child. But when my husband called me late one night, something crazy just happened in Delhi. I feel something rupture. The silence starts to tear and come apart. I am her. She is me. And I know my silence all these years is part of what that dark night brought. This thing is my story.
Wow, Poorna, thank you for sharing that. Connie says, "Oh my God, Poorna and Yael gives me shivers," and it really was a very moving theatrical piece, as Arti says. Talk to us about how that all turned out after, share that every night must have been so painful.
It was really, the process of creating it was very painful, and Yael had to work with all of us, and was there anyone? One person who had told her story before, Pamela Sinha, who replaced a woman called Sapna Bhavnani, but none of us had publicly told our stories of rape and sexual assault before, ever. So, the process of, and Yael she's kind of a master weaver. She takes our stories and she weaves them into poetry. So, what you saw is the beginning of my testimonial. And so, creating it was a lot of emotions, but we were all driven by such anger, Sree, which was amazing. we were all so angry. And, as Indian women in general have a really hard time tapping into anger, really hard time. And I just remember it was the anger is what completely surprised me about the event of the rape and Jyoti's subsequent death. And this piece comes from anger. It is woven from anger. It walks in anger, and it encourages audiences to rise up, be angry, and do something about this epidemic of sexual violence. So it was a hugely effective piece. We opened in Edinburgh, and we won the Herald Angel, and we won the Amnesty International Award. We toured all over India and all over Dublin and Canada. We toured the world, and after every show, people in the audience would stay back and they'd raise their hand and say, "I too was, I too am a survivor of sexual violence." And a lot of people, it was the first time that they had said it themselves. And it was this began we premiered in Edinburgh in 2013. And it was before the Me Too movement, There were parts of it, I remember in India, it was received really well, both critically, and the impact it had on people was really tremendous. But I do remember all of us feeling a little isolated, feeling a little alienated and alone, because it wasn't a conversation a lot of people were willing to have, I guess. So, but it was the precursor to the Me Too movement, for us, for sure. And again, I was talking to Neil. How do you, as an actor, bring all of you to screen and stage? And you have to rely on these, on these slivers, on these tiny parts to try and bring all of you. And that's not going to work. And I'm not a writer. I can't do that. I can't sit and write something for myself. It's a whole different craft. I don't know how to do that. So once again, I will. Just supporting, getting actors of color out there, supporting them in their craft, giving them voice, giving them the resources to get their stories out.
We've got more comments coming in. Our parents, Poorna says, our Indian parents are always pandemic prepared. And let's see, Sonali says your character name in Katie is Big Little Lies. Poorna says that so much food already in the pantry for some Indian American parents. And let's see, Kavita asks, which part of the South are you from, Poorna? I was fluent in Telugu, she said.
Oh, I'm from Madras. I'm from Chennai.
Okay. And Connie says, defending Jacob is amazing. So just tell us where they can find it. Where is that show?
It's on Apple TV. The first 3 episodes dropped yesterday. It is amazing. It is amazing. And it's a very talented cast led by Chris Evans, Michelle Dockery, and the unbelievable Jaden Martell. So please do watch it.
Look at this. You said South Asian actresses supporting their sisters. And here's Sarita Chaudhary, the great Sarita Chaudhary. Poorna, you look great. It's me, Sarita.
Hi,
Sarita, I'll just say hi to her as well. Sarita, we had the honor of sharing a stage where we talked in New York City Hall when you got an award. And I got to do a keynote for South Asian issues in 1998. That was a long time ago. And we've been so proud of everything you've done, Sarita. And so it's great to see you out here supporting Poorna. And we'd love to have you on this show, Sarita, at any point. My email address is sree@sree.net. We'd love to have you. Anybody else who's watching, we're looking for guest ideas, speaker ideas, themes, and, of course, sponsors. We love all of those things, and so please let us know. Let's get.
And Sarita is such a great example of someone who started this a few years before all of us. She was the first one out there. I remember seeing Mississippi Masala and being like, "What?" It was revolutionary for us, that she really carried the torch and continues to change the landscape. Like all of us other Indian girls are like, "I got a doctor. Did you get the doctor role? Did you get that?" And Sarita's the only one who's like, "Oh my God, they want me to do this other thing where God, I have to be naked all the time. What a pain." Like she just gets to embody all these massively amazing, sexually interesting women, and we're like performing surgery somewhere.
Well, yeah, I will say the last show I saw her in, she had an amazing role in Homeland. We talked about Homeland earlier, and she was great in that. And and also she played somebody who lives in America, lives in India, that kind of connection. Let's keep going. We have just a few more minutes with you. And Pradnya says she does have a few white friends left after she was tagging all those Indians. Pradnya says, do you think the industry comes back? How do you think the industry comes back post-COVID? One of the ideas being floated is fewer takes on set.
Okay. I don't know. We're all in the same boat.
Yeah. And that's the issue. Tim is watching late from Pennsylvania. He's usually asleep I think, by 8:15 over here. And a partner says, woohoo, Sarita, I once rented a bus in college to take everyone in our Asian American lit class to see Mississippi Masala when it opened in Bryn Mawr, I'm sure. And Sarita's on Mira's Royal Detective show too, which is great. Mira. And Renee says hello. And Mississippi Masala is an all-time favorite, says Pratna, who went on to become a director in Hollywood. Do you see enough female South Asian directors and people behind the camera?
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like it started. Like, Never Have I Ever was directed by 2 South Asian, and one of them was Anuvalia, who's a South Asian woman who's prolific and amazing and so young. Jagannathan, but I can name them on one hand, you know. We really need, again, we need, they're in the pipeline, actually. There are a lot of people who are there. They're just not given. You have to take a chance on someone. You have to ask someone who doesn't look like you, who doesn't have the same life experiences as you, who didn't go to the same school as you. You have to reach a hand out and take a chance. And that's just not being done at the rate that it should be.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And Renee, she says she just joined too. And Sarita says, Poorna, you are too funny. No more doctors for you. Great interview. So that's terrific. Thank you, Sarita. So we're going to start wrapping up. Poorna, this is a positivity show. So tell us something positive that we can hold on to as we go into this new week. That's why we do this on Sunday night.
We're doing Basement Bhangra again tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You need to just follow DJ Rekha. We got kicked off Instagram today, but follow DJ Rekha on Instagram. And I mean, Chaya was happening, all Kurbani, everything was happening yesterday and this morning, and it was great. So I'm hoping to see you tomorrow as well. And
tell us again about the show and where we can find.
Never Have I Ever releases tonight at midnight, LA time, your time, on Netflix. It's by Mindy Kaling and Lang Fisher, unbelievably funny, and it stars Maitri Ramakrishnan as the lead, and she's a young South Asian found by open casting call, and she's amazing.
Awesome. So what else can we look forward to? What else is we should know about you? They can find you, of course, on Twitter at Poorna Jagannathan.
There's also a show called Defending Jacob on Apple TV, which is very scary and mysterious. Please watch that as well.
Mark has a quick question. Have you ever worked on any Mira Nair films?
I haven't. So we can take them all. There's literally no.
There's no shows left after Mira.
Yeah. The generosity of South Asian friends only goes that much. I'm not allowed.
And Steve says, thank you for Sunday positivity.
Thank you, Sree. Had a great time on this.
Yeah. And Deepa says, an awesome interview. Nice seeing you. Thank you very much, everybody. I'm going to do a wrap up. We're going to let Poorna go and enjoy the rest of her evening out in California. It's 10:15 here and much earlier in California. Thank you very much, Poorna. And everybody, thank you for watching. She is awesome, as you just saw, that she was able to be with us. We're so grateful to her for her time. Thank you so much. Please follow her on social and check out her website as well. And one of the things you can do is tweet the show Never Have I Ever on Twitter and at Netflix. Let them know that you're watching. That makes a difference in these days. So it's very, very important. So please do that. I want to thank our sponsors who are always amazing, and they make a difference for this show, that we can actually have a show like this. And we want to thank our sponsors this week, the Girl Scouts of New York, who are trying to raise money to donate 100,000 boxes of cookies to healthcare workers. And you can go to this link, bit.ly/gscookies1, bit.ly/gscookies1, and make a donation. And your favorite healthcare workers in New York will get a box or more of the favorite cookies that they like. And this ad was paid for by a third-party donor, so that you're supporting this show by making a donation, supporting the Girl Scouts of Greater New York, and you're supporting the healthcare workers in New York City. We definitely need that. We also want to thank Thunder 11, a C-level communications boutique specializing in tech, healthcare, and public affairs. Thunder 11 offers big ideas and relentless execution for brand ID, PR, content creation, and leadership training. A 2019 Platinum PR Awards Boutique Firm of the Year, thunder11.com. Check out thunder11.com, and we'd love to run your ad. Maybe you don't have a business you want to promote, but there's a nonprofit you'd like to promote. Maybe there's a birthday shout out you want to do. We're going to do a Mother's Day show, and we'll do a lot of ads there. So maybe you would want to get in on that. But if you know anybody who would want to be part of this international show, global show, please email me, Sree@Sree.net, SREE@SREE.net. I'm so thrilled that you could all be here. I'm so grateful to everyone. Thank you so much for watching. We have a fantastic show tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, which is 4:30 a.m. in India, and which is about 11 p.m. GMT. We are going to do poetry night, and we have one of America's best poets, Nikki Grimes, is going to be here with Rose Horowitz, one of our producers. We're going to co-host the show, and we might get a couple of other poets in here as well. So please watch, please join us, 7 p.m. Eastern. And if you're watching the archives, thank you so much. The archives are on YouTube. Just go to youtube.com/Sreenet, and you will be able to subscribe, and you can see all the shows we do on so many important topics, and we're so grateful. 45 straight days of the shows. Thank you, big thank you to Scroll.in for sponsoring us, for hosting us. As you can see on the screen, Scroll.in is one of India's largest independent arts, culture, news websites. Check it out at Scroll.in. And our guest was Poorna Jagannathan of Big Little Lies, The Night of, Delhi Belly, Better Call Saul, and now Never Have I Ever, which premieres on Monday on Netflix. Some of you are watching in Europe and in India. It's already that time in India, and you can check out the show. A little bit about the show. We've done now 45 shows, and we have more than 500,000 people have seen it. That's before we started the partnership with Scroll, which is so much bigger. And we've had 12 doctors and 10 authors and 6 teachers, and we've had 93 guests, and we're very proud that 58 of them were women. Even a higher percentage we will shoot for. Guests from 35 cities in 8 countries. That's not the viewers, that's the speakers on the show. And so we're so grateful to everyone for your support. And one of the things you can do very easily is to sign up for our WhatsApp alert. This is not a WhatsApp group with your parents or your uncle and aunt. This is just an alert. You'll get an alert just as soon as we go live, so that you can join us, because our timings vary across the globe. So please do let us know. Just ask, point your phone right now at the screen, and you can become a member of this alerts, and you will learn a lot, I'm sure, from doing this. And I would love to see you do that. I also want to tell you about our closed Facebook group. It's called Sree's Advanced Social. Sree's Advanced Social. You can find it very easily, and we'd love to have you join us on that group. It's a group where we share a lot of social media. We have almost 10,000 people, including people who work at Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn. Just go on Facebook and search Sree's Advanced Social, and you ask to join, and we will add you, and we'd love to have you to be part of that organization of people from around the world. It's not an organization, it's a family, a community, and we'd love to have you. And just read our final comments as we go in here. Thank you, Poorna. Great interview. # women to follow. Rose does an amazing job with that. Neil says, thank you for an incredible conversation. Thank you, Neil, for stepping in. I want you to be on my podcast, says Mark Lee. Please go in and definitely tweet at her, and you can ask her. Jonathan, always our favorite viewer, because he's there first and says comments, delightful and very entertaining. Thank you. Paula says, thank you, Poorna and Neil and Sree. How fascinating. Aparna says, feels like a streaming brown open a la Crazy Rich Asian screenings. CC Jeff Yang. And Nandini Natarajan says, can't wait to see the show, Poorna. Awesome, girl. And Aparna says yes to supporting nonprofits. So please let me know if you have a nonprofit that you'd like to support. Just email me and we'll get an ad out there for them. And Pradnya loves the idea of poetry. Jaya says, great interviewer and nice interview. Thank you so much, Jaya. Really appreciate it. And Renee says, thank you, Sree and Poorna. Prarthana says, great work. And thanks, Poorna, says Kavita. And thanks, Rose. And Aparna says, Sree fam. Awesome. We love that. I'm wearing my positivity shirt from Bombay Shirt Company. Thank you so much for watching. Please jump in, post your comments, share your ideas. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. SreeNet is my YouTube channel. There you will be able to see all my shows, including these shows, plus our Sunday morning New York Times read-along, as well as other shows that we do that can be surprising and things that you don't expect. We did an amazing show this week, Neil and I did, about all things to do with Shakespeare. It's Shakespeare's birthday, and we got to celebrate that together with the Royal Shakespeare Company, Shakespeare Birthplace, the church where he is buried, the school he went to was incredible. You can find that in my archives. So thank you, everybody, for watching. I'm so grateful, and I just want to say goodbye to everyone and say wishing you the very, very best. And stay safe, everybody. Stay home if you can, and don't touch your face, something I keep doing all the time. But thank you very much, and goodbye, everybody. See you soon.